Ryan, Carl talked last night about needing a little more of an edge, just to see him 27, 27, and 4. How big was that for him?
I mean, huge. 27 rebounds means you're really playing to win, and you're playing meaningful possessions where you understand that this was a win that we needed against a team that we're going to be, fighting for playoff positioning. So for Carl to say that and then come out and do it, that's a big testament to him.
And how about Tyus, too, having to play the last 18 minutes, and what did you see him give you guys down the stretch?
I mean, he gave us everything he has, what he usually does. And, it's well documented. I have a long relationship with Tyus. I trust Tyus, and, we all feel good when he plays well.
Big difference in three-point shooting between this game and the last game. Some of it's just a make or miss, but what were you doing in terms of, really small percentage there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing we talked about today was shot preparation. So when we want to get into drive and kick basketball, or we do push the ball in transition, we talked about everybody just staying down, being shot ready, and we're trying to do a couple things throughout practice and shoot around just to improve with that. But our guys did a great job with that tonight.
With Jeff and what happened to him at the end of the first half, how's he doing health-wise?
Yeah, he re-aggravated his ankle and then played a little bit in the third quarter, and then Tyus finished the game.
Congrats on your first home win, Ryan.
Thanks, John.
39 threes. Do you pretty much like all the looks you guys are getting tonight? That seems like a lot of threes.
Yeah, I like them. That's what I'd say. There's a few in there that I'd say we could do away with, but that's shot selection. That's something that's addressed in the film sessions and throughout individual development. But I like them. Everybody always talks about wanting to shoot more threes, right? All right.
You were talking before the game about how Saric, you told him keep shooting because he was clearly frustrated last night. He had some big shots made tonight. Yeah. He was very aggressive. Just comment on how he kind of turned it around from last night.
Just his mental state. Once again, that's a credit to Dario. Just coming in, he could have hung his head, and even when getting the 3 fouls early on, he could have kind of checked out of the game. But, hey, he stayed ready. We had so many guys stay ready, and, I don't know if anybody's going to ask me about him, but Luol Deng, I hope everybody realizes how great of a professional he is. Because for him to stay ready, throughout the year, and then, he comes in late at night, he's there for all hours, and for him to stay ready and then come in and play meaningful minutes like that and get 5 quick points, I mean, you just can't say enough about him.
Well, that was my question, but how difficult is that for him to be able to do?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
How hard is that for him to be able to, when he's not getting consistent time or really any time at all, to be able to come in short notice and do that?
I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not sure how hard it is for a guy like Lou, because Lou is a professional, and he's. I just like to think that that's what he does. So I can't answer that honestly, but I'd say that I just give him so much credit.
To follow up on that, Coach, after Lou hit the 3 and there was a timeout, how nice was that moment when basically the entire team ran out to meet him at half court?
That's awesome. That's what I mean. Professional sports, obviously, you have to win. You want to win, but there's small moments throughout games or practices or whenever team outings that you really feel the connection, and you feel good about people in terms of people who work hard, and for the team to share that with Lou is a special thing.
Andrew, another 7 rebounds tonight. He's talked for years about wanting to improve his rebounding. What are you seeing from him where he's actually doing it of late?
Yeah, I think he was tired tonight too, in terms of back-to-back games, and he gives a lot out there. For him to go get 7 rebounds, and he was in there fighting too. I mean, even some of the rebounds that he didn't necessarily get on the defensive end, he was in there fighting. So it's always great to see Andrew improving, a different facet of his game.
After that defensive mix-up between Dario and Anthony Tolliver, is that the first time you've ripped your team on the sideline?
Did I rip him?
Well, I mean,
I suppose not really, to be honest with you. I mean, it's everybody might think that it's all it's always positivity and it's always candy and roses and everything. But when things need to be done, they need to be done. And you know, these guys are 17. I mean, they held a team like New Orleans to 17 points in the fourth quarter, and you know, they just had great. Our team had great toughness about them tonight.
Ryan, what made you go to Luol there? And I mean, he hadn't played for a while. What made you want to dust it off and give him a shot?
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's a gut. Our assistants also encouraged it, and actually, one of our assistants, Larry, actually suggested it. And as soon as he suggested it, my gut just said yeah, and everybody else, in terms of staff-wise, was really on board with it because we've seen Lou work.
It seemed like particularly early on you were, or Josh and Andrew were cross-matching a lot with Holiday and Moore. Does that seem like something that's really important, or the wing, particularly while you have Covington out in this time, is those two figuring out how to work together defensively?
Yeah, and it's figuring out how to communicate, too, in terms of defensive transition. I mean, we all saw the game, you know, that we had a few transition plays that were not good. But it's a work in progress. And ultimately, towards the end of the game, we did a really good job. I mean, how we handled the play that Dallas ran last night, and they scored on a good amount. Our guys, you know, maybe messed it up one time, but then they pulled it together, talked it out, and we did a good job with it.
What flipped on the defensive end between the third quarter, which obviously was not very good, and the fourth quarter, which was strong?
I think just defensive intensity, and Karl was vocal in the huddle. We had a number of guys. Taj was vocal in the huddle, and just players, you know, responding to each other and knowing that, okay, we need to help the guy next to us, especially when we're tired, when we got, you know, back-to-back. You know, we don't want to be an excuse team. So having that, you know, everybody was really pulled together.
From just an aesthetic level, do you like watching a battle between, like we saw tonight, between Towns and Davis and going back and forth? And how big was that block after Karl had that three coming out of the timeout?
Well, to answer your first question, I don't like watching Anthony Davis go against Karl because he's really good. But the block was huge. The block was huge, and you know, Karl, we've been talking to him about going vertical and without coming down and fouling, and you know, for him to do it at a time like that was just big for our team and big for our improvement.